What's good, everybody? It's Thursday night, NBA Picks and Props on the Props Network. I'm Dexter Henry. We all are here, ready to go. Another interesting week around events in basketball. We are getting closer to the play-in tournament, closer to the playoffs. I think we all have a little bit of basketball fatigue. We love the sport, but we want the high-stakes games to get going. But let me introduce my guys rocking with me tonight. First up is somebody who told me he's bringing a different energy than we are used to on this show. I don't know if it's a campaign for Rudy Gobert for MVP. I don't know if that's what it is, but my man Gerard Hector. Gerard, what's up, man?
Rudy Gobert, the most important player on the Utah Jazz. But no, listen, here's what I'm coming at with the Heat right
From
now.
Top.
Coming in hot. Listen, we need to stop this foolishness. I don't know which one of these clown-ass morning shows started the whole Nikola Jokic, not really the MVP, and NBA Twitter and everybody losing their godforsaken minds. Yo, people, this is a con game that these shows do every single day. They start the week telling you one thing. On Tuesday, they go a complete 180 and say the complete opposite. Come back to their point on Wednesday, and they bait you into these discussions, and the timelines on Twitter goes crazy. It's the same thing with this Floyd Mayweather and whatever this other clown, I don't even know his name, that he's fighting. That fake little stage thing they did today with the fake taking of the hat. It's all a game, people, to get you all riled up. Don't buy into the propaganda and the bullshit. Stop it.
Don't fall for the okie doke. Now, that energy is very reminiscent of our other, not guests, but our other participant in the show, Brian Fonseca, usually bringing that kind of energy. You know he likes the violence. He's probably hyped up for the stupid Mayweather versus whatever Paul brother that is fight. Brian, what's up, man? Do you have the energy to match Gerard today?
It's Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, although today it was Floyd Mayweather versus Jake Paul, who ran like a bitch, and
what are we even doing?
His voice was fucking cracking when he was being chased. So I'm not so sure that part of it was staged, because it looked like he was really terrified that he was going to get fucked up, and deservedly so, because he's a troll, and apparently he's rolling with Donald Trump now, of all people. So yeah, no, I'm gonna bring some sort of energy for French Tyson Chandler today. We'll see how this goes.
French Tyson Chandler.
Look, Tyson Chandler was a good player, so I mean that.
But he ain't nowhere near as good as Rudy Gobert is.
Well, let me tell you, Gerard. So when you threw all the Rudy Gobert stuff in the chat, and as much as I respect you, and you know I do at the highest regard, but when I saw it,
here comes the butt.
Here comes the butt. Anytime, here comes the butt.
When I saw all the analytics, I was just like, nah, I just didn't care to respond. Honestly, I just wanted to say that as we started the show today. I was just look, Nikola Jokic is the MVP, and that's really it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fact. We know this. That's a fact.
We know this. That's true. All right, and last but not least, our man Murph. Murph, I don't really have too much of an intro for you, other than I have to believe you are not on the train of Rudy Gobert for MVP.
Nah, I'm not on that train by far. I don't think he's the MVP of his goddamn team. Okay, but
wow, the disrespect for the Frenchman. The disrespect.
I don't mind. To talk about Nikola Jokic MVP or not in the morning shows. As long as they don't talk about Aaron Rodgers anymore, I'm fine with that.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Some news we just got to get off of. We do definitely got to get off of. People holding on too much. Brian, before we start, will you be watching that Mayweather-Logan Paul fight? Will you be tuning in?
I won't be paying for it.
You're part of. I still say you're part of the problem. You're still part of the problem. Why? Why do we want to see this? I have no idea.
To see the worst of America, because you know what it's gonna be, divided across racial lines. You know this. It's the playbook. This is what it is. Why are we participating in this nonsense?
And also, like, people could say what they want about Floyd Mayweather and his fights being boring. I find him typically very captivating, but I'm also the biggest boxing guy that we have here. So I'm just going to,
when Floyd is boxing, that is a good, Floyd is one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen. Shit, he might be on the, pound for pound, might be the greatest of all time. Like, he's that good. But when he's actually boxing, not this foolishness with whoever this clown is.
I know. Yeah. No, look, y'all are totally right. But it's like,
you're totally wrong for watching.
Yes. However, I will say this. If I don't think this is the case, and I'm pretty sure it isn't because it would be kind of dumb marketing wise. And this is a Showtime event, not a Triller event. But if there was an actual fight, like if the Vasily Lomachenko fight coming up was on that same day, then yes, I would watch the Lomachenko fight. But that's not happening. Like there's going to be no competitor for that, except for maybe an NBA playoff game because around that time we'll be in the playoffs.
I have no choice. Definitely know what I'm watching.
NBA playoffs easy. Not even
but we're not going to sit here and act like we don't have multiple screens. Like, you know what I'm saying? Murph
the other
day was in his room watching 2 different games, posting about it. Like, come on.
No. I always have access to multiple screens, but I'll tell you what, on that day, it'll be all basketball.
Yes,
I will be not watching that mockery.
There might be one basketball game at that time though. I mean, unless you're gonna do like Nets playoff game and then Mets playoff regular season game or something like that.
I will stream Netflix on my second screen before I watch that crap. All right.
I'm not mad at that.
All right, like I'm not watching that nonsense.
This is one where I'm not trying to win. You know what I'm saying?
Good. I'm glad. Trying to bring in Murph in there, talking about how Murph is watching multiple college basketball games. Like it's the same thing. Not the same thing. Not at all. All right, let's get on to the actual games tonight, guys. Things that we're actually going to watch, not a domination of one person over another. We're not trying to see that. All right, we got first game of the night for Thursday night. We got the Brooklyn Nets. They are 3.5-point favorites. They will be in the Big D to take on the Dallas Mavericks. Over-under for this contest is 234. You know our motto with the Nets. Generally, it is to bang the over. This should be a good matchup. The Nets coming off some tough losses in Milwaukee. They're trying to get right before the playoffs. I'm going to start with you first, Brian. Are you concerned about the Nets? Do you like them to bounce back here against the Mavericks tonight?
Concern is strong. I would say that I'm the same place on the Nets where I've been the entire time, which is like I'm just wait and see at this point. And right now, like as the regular season is ending, I kind of think everything is up in the air at this point. When I see Nets versus Mavs, I see instant over. Like I don't see how I could talk myself into betting the under there. As far as the spread goes, like I would typically lean Brooklyn, all things considered, but I don't know. I just feel like Luka is probably going to have one of those big games, and we know that the Nets don't really defend all that well anyway. So, I would probably like lukewarm, confidently just roll with the Mavs here. But this is just a regular season scenario for me at this point. I just want to get to the playoffs. I'm going to be straight up.
Well, we talked about that at the top. We got a little bit of that fatigue. Now the Mavs do have something to play for here in terms of trying to stay out of the play. And we notice they've been quiet. They're not talking about the play-in tournament anymore because they're now in the 5th spot in virtue of their tiebreaker over the Lakers right now at 37-28. So they got a lot of motivation. They need to win games down the stretch, probably a little bit more than the Nets do. Murph, you've been on the Nets train, despite whether they're not healthy or not. These guys will all figure it out. They've still looked really good offensively. Do you like them tonight against the Mavs?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident tonight. The 3.5. I'm taking the Nets. The Mavs, the Mavs are just they're just there's nothing special about the Mavs this season. They're not a really good team. They're okay. They did surprise me last game, and I lost some money the other night when they beat Miami. But stupid me, I didn't see that Butler wasn't playing, so maybe that's an excuse.
You should have talked to Brian. You got to talk to Brian before that.
He's also questionable for tomorrow against Minnesota.
But Brian might as well be the Miami Heat beat reporter. Might as well.
I definitely should have texted Brian.
And also, in fairness to Murph, Tim Hardaway Jr. kind of went crazy. So
Yeah. I didn't see the game at all. I just saw the result and I was like, "Are you serious?" But and the Nets, coming off 2 losses to Milwaukee. Milwaukee is actually a contender. A very good team, different level from the Mavs. I'm not going to fault them for that. Milwaukee is one of the few contenders who's actually healthy right now, completely healthy. So what you see from them is kind of what you're going to get. It's every other contender that's not healthy right now. So we'll see down the line. But now for this game, give me the Nets with the spread and bang the over on this one. This is actually a low over under for the Nets. 234.5. What is it? 235, something like that. Mm-hmm. 35. So that I'm loving that. Take the over.
Yeah, I was surprised that the over-under wasn't closer to 240 on this one, guys. What about you, Gerard? Putting your money on the Nets and banging that over?
Yeah, look, I like the Nets tonight. I'm taking them with a -2.5, -3. I like the point spread there. They've lost 3 in a row. Those 2 to Milwaukee, and they lost to Portland the game before that, right? So they kind of got to right their ship a little bit. And the idea of having something to play for, the Nets and the Mavericks have something to play for. The Mavericks are still trying to lock themselves into not being in the play-in, and the Nets still got to figure out locking themselves into the 2, or with some hope they run the table and Philly gets lazy trying to catch that 1, right? Or falling out of the 3 because Milwaukee does have the tiebreak. So this is a game that they have to win as well. I think what we're having right now is all these teams, they got tired legs right now. Everybody's tired. You're seeing shooting percentages dip. It's just they can't wait for the playoffs to start. But it's also like, yo, these games matter. These last 8 games of the season, just about everybody is trying to solidify where they're going to be from a seeding standpoint. There's no seed that's locked yet, right? Everybody's still kind of hovering around. Ooh, I could be here, I could be there. So I think it's important for both teams. The over-under is actually probably where it should be because they anticipate, I would imagine, just lower percentage shooting night from both teams. But I like the Nets here, and I'm just going to stay away from the over-under because I'm not really sure what might happen. The Nets might decide to screw around and play defense for a quarter.
Yeah, I'd probably go Nets here. I like banging the over still with that 234, 235, whatever you're seeing from whatever betting house you're getting it from. Of note here, Porzingis ruled out for tonight's game. Also, Maxi Kleber, Achilles will not play.
What a shock! Porzingis is out. Holy shit!
Oh, Brian, leave it to Brian to kill Porzingis every chance he gets.
Any chance he can get to kill Porzingis, any chance he can get to hype up the Heat and kiss Pat Riley's rings.
I gave Porzingis credit last time we talked about him, or one of them times we talked about him. I'm like, he's actually been good this year.
One of them times.
The problem is, it's just every other day. He's like Anthony Davis. Every other day he's questionable.
Yeah, every other day it's questionable whether you will not talk about the Heat. But neither here nor there.
I haven't brought them up yet. All right, I haven't done it yet.
Yet being the operative word.
Yet being the operative word. We know it's coming. Next game, guys. The Washington Wizards. Haven't talked to them too much on this show. They will be in Tampa Bay to play the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors actually are 3-point favorites in this contest, and the over-under is 235.5. Gerard, I'll start with you. The Wizards have been playing pretty good ball as of late. They are now sitting in the 10th spot in terms of the play-in. There's a lot of talk about how dangerous they could be if they get in the playoffs. Not sure I buy all that. Westbrook has been playing really well. Do you like the Wizards to keep things going? This is kind of an important game for Toronto in terms of staying alive if they want to in that play-in race. They are currently 3 games back of the Wizards. So it's kind of now or never. This is a team they need to catch. They've got to get this game if they want to still stay alive. Do you like Toronto to pull the even though they're the favorite, to get this win at home, or do you like the Washington Wizards to continue their good play?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. As I said, there's really no games unless it's involving Minnesota and Cleveland. Those teams that have no shot at doing anything. This game matters, right? So for Washington, they are 8-2 in the last 10 against the spread, and the Wizards, to your point about being dangerous in the postseason, if they get in, I don't think they're going to win a series against the 1 seed, but you don't want to see Russ and Bradley Beal in round 1. That's not fun for you, right? It's just going to make it more difficult than it has to be. So look, and this is the second night of a back-to-back for Washington, so that makes me nervous. They just lost to Milwaukee by 1 last night. Raptors play hard regardless, no matter what, -3. Look, I think that, while the Raps do play hard, this might be the end of their rope, because if they don't win this game, they effectively are all but done from trying to catch the Wizards for that 10th spot in the play-in. So I think the Wizards, despite being, the second night of a back-to-back, I like them tonight -3.
It is definitely do or die time.
Or +3.
They're +3, right? Do or die time for the Raptors. Word to AZ. Murph, do you like the Raptors to come up big here as well too? They've got to win tonight, or does nobody beat the Wiz? What are we going with?
I like that old school.
A lot of '90s references there. Mm-hmm. People don't get it. Yeah.
No, I mean Toronto. People saying they need to win to stay in it, but they can't feel that way themselves if they're resting Lowry still, every other game. So I'm not sure how much they're in it, but I agree with Gerard. They're going to play hard regardless of who they put out on the court. So they're capable of winning any game. Van Vliet just killed me in fantasy the other night, so he's capable of going off. So they're dangerous. I'm gonna go with Washington here, +3. Just those numbers that Westbrook is putting up is just stupid. He's averaging 13.8 assists, 21.8 points over the last 10 games. Beal is always a threat to drop 40. They are definitely playing for something. They want to make the playoffs, no doubt about it. So I'm gonna hesitantly put my money on Washington here. They're a tough team to really trust, but they are 7-3 in their last 10 compared to 5-5 for Toronto. So give me Washington.
Give you Washington. All right, Brian. You got faith in Washington as well too, or are you rocking with Toronto?
I like the way Washington's been playing a lot more, but I'm just nervous because they're on this road swing, and this is a season-defining road trip that they're going to be 5 straight games away from DC right now. And they've already lost the first one, and it was just last night against the Milwaukee Bucks, as Gerard mentioned, a 1-point game. Second night of a back-to-back against the Raptors. Even though, the Raptors aren't what they were, they're still the Raptors to some degree. Like, they're going to give you that effort and whatever. We'll see. OG Anunoby's out, but the Raptors still have enough to where I think that they can win this on the second night of a back-to-back for the Wizards, and that's what's really doing it for me. Given how hard the Wizards have been playing, you figure on the second night of a back-to-back, they'll probably run out of some steam. So this entire game is probably a stay away for me because this is just the hardest of the games that we're going to talk about. We have another one coming up after this. This was the hardest one to sort of try to pick where it's going to go. If I absolutely have to, gun to the head, knife to the throat, if I absolutely had to pick somebody, I would probably lean with the Raptors because I'm a little bit nervous about, the Wizards as great as they've been playing just on this road trip and on the second night of a back-to-back. But I'm not going to rule them out either because Russell Westbrook, we see what he's doing, the triple-doubles, triple-doubles are an overrated stat, but he's doing it in a way that has been conducive to winning lately. And if you told me this was going to happen late in the season after how he started, because we all thought he was pretty much cooked as a star, it looks like he has a chance to sneak on All-NBA again, which is crazy.
That is crazy. Some of these morning shows, as Gerard loves, will start talking about is Russell Westbrook MVP. Somebody will say that.
Oh, that's stupid nonsense.
It is, but this is what they do. I think Murph brought up a good point. I'm not sure how much the Raptors want this, the way they've been playing. I don't remember if it was Murph or Gerard that brought this up, the way they've been resting Lowry. Murph, you said that how they've been resting Lowry throughout it. I'm not sure, but with Lowry playing tonight, and like we all have said, the Raptors do play hard. I would put my money on the Raptors here. I think they want to give themselves at least as much of a shot to try to do it. Now, organizationally, I'm not sure how bad they want it, but I think if Lowry's on the court, those guys are really going to play hard, and they've got a shot in this game. So reluctantly I would take the Raptors here. Probably stay away from the over-under on this one. All right, our last game of the night. You guys hyped? It's the battle for LA. Lakers versus Clippers. Clippers being the home team here. Clippers favored by 8. No LeBron James, who's resting his ankles after he re-injured it lately, and I thought he might want to play because he doesn't like the play-in tournament at all and thinks whoever came up with it should be fired. Not going to go that hard.
Propaganda season.
210.5 is the over-under here. Propaganda season, Brian. Battle for LA. Are you hyped for tonight's matchup? And who you got?
It's really tough. Without LeBron James and Dennis Schroeder, it's really tough for me to talk myself into the Lakers winning this in any sort of regard. So I'm just going to roll with the Clippers here because, they under the radar because they're the Clippers, but they've been quite good this season. Like Kawhi Leonard's been very good when he's been active. Paul George has had his best of the 2 seasons he's been in LA so far. This is the best that he's been since he's been in Oklahoma City. Like, they ought to get some sort of respect. People won't give it to them. Like we won't give it to them until they, do something in the playoffs, obviously. And there's something to that. But at the same time, like they've been very good in the regular season. They've been one of the best teams in the NBA. And if their season ended on a higher note last year, we would be talking about them as being a potential contender. And I think we probably should at some point because, there's a lot of uncertainty in both of these conferences. But I'm rolling with the Clippers. That over-under feels low to me, obviously, but we know why. It's because no Dennis Schroeder, no LeBron. So are the Lakers even going to break 100? So in that case, it's probably a little bit more of a stay away for me because even if the Clippers win by 20, you might be talking about a 112-92 game, and that doesn't get you what you're looking for. So, but I'm taking the Clippers to win this.
confidence in the Clippers. Is that the same for you, Murph? Are the Clippers going to clip? Because I can see that happening, despite them being 8 points favorites here. I can absolutely see that happening. No LeBron, and some reason the Clippers are going to do what the Clippers do. Do you see that happening tonight and the Lakers coming through, or do the Clippers keep things rolling?
Yeah, confidence in the Clippers is not 3 words that I use
Ever.
But I'm quiet. I'm secretly, intrigued by the Clippers lately. I'm like, I don't like to say it, but I'm like, oh, wow, they could be contenders. I say that in my inside voice. It's very scary to say out loud. So forgive me, but
yeah, I'm scared now. I heard you say it.
Yeah, no, it's scary, but so who knows? But what bothers me here is the 8.5 points. I do think the Clippers will win. We'll see. I think the Clippers will win, but I'm not sure they blow out the Lakers or beat them by double digits or something like that. The Lakers look really good against Denver. Without LeBron, AD had 25. If he comes to play at that level, they can keep it close, maybe. And they play defense, usually. So I'm worried about the spread there. So if I had to pick, I got to go Lakers plus 8.5. I don't think they'll win, but I think they'll probably cover if I had to choose. And the over under, I'm staying away from also because the Lakers are capable of keeping a team down, with their defense. So I would stay away. If I want to go over, but I'm a little nervous with that. So I'm gonna stick to the spread and take the Lakers plus 8.5.
All right, taking the Lakers plus the 8 points. Shout out to my man Omar checking in. We see your comments. Never show the Clippers confidence. They may actually hear you. That's right. You can't breathe life into them, Murph. They might hear you and start doing things that you didn't expect. But they did that last year, and we saw people hit the side of the backboard. So
damn,
I don't know. And look, I ain't letting go of that until we see him not to.
How can you?
I can't let go of it. It is entrenched in my brain. Gerard, are you going to breathe life into the Clippers as well, too? That they get a big win in this battle of LA? Or is this F the other C's, the left coast C's? Is that the kind of energy we bring?
It's so interesting, right? Because this game is so intriguing for so many different reasons. The Lakers have been just disastrous this season because of all the injuries, right? But through all that, they are still the number 1 defense in the league. It's incredible, right? So we know they can guard. And the Clippers, to everybody's point, right? You don't want to start talking too loud because, again, as Omar said, they might hear you. And we don't want to get into their heads. They start thinking they're good at basketball, right? I don't want to be like, nah, y'all trash. We ain't worried about you. But look, the Clippers, this is a game that they should win, right? And 8 points, they should be able to take care of this team. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, everybo's back except for Ibaka. He's the only one not healthy yet. And, I think that's big. The other thing, I talked about seeding. Seeding's so important. Right now, the Clips are 3rd or tied for 3rd. They would play the Lakers in round 1. Do they want to do that? Do they want to potentially tank this game so they could move down to 4th? Who knows what kind of gamesmanship is going on amongst all these teams? Because seeding right now with these 8-9 games left is critical and paramount. But tonight, I'm going to go ahead and ride with the Clip Show. I'm going to trust in Ty Lue. I'm going to trust in Kawhi, trust in PG-13 that they get the job done. I'm staying away from that over-under, though.
Nope, no, not for me. Not here at all. I am not trusting the C's in this. I'm saying I'm out of Clips or going to clip. And so here's the thing. That doesn't mean I'm kind of with Murph on this. It doesn't mean I don't think that they're going to win. I just don't trust that point spread of that 8.5. Can't trust it, man. No. So I will take the Lakers here because I think they'll cover the points. I think it's actually going to be a close game. I think the Lakers are going to play good enough defensively. I think they're going to build a little bit off of what we saw against them in Denver. Now, AD looked better in that game. Brian and I were talking earlier in the week and having a conversation how AD hasn't really looked that good at all whatsoever. Looks like he's starting to look better. They need him to look better, but the Lakers have still been good defensively. I don't think good enough to win, but good enough to make the Clips sweat. Give me the Lakers plus 8 for this. I also would stay away from that over-under, but, I'll do it. The Clips are going to clip, man. Let's not give them the confidence. Go ahead, Brian. Let's not give them the confidence.
And to support Dexter's point, if everyone was paying attention today, earlier Anthony Davis was on Twitch.
Oh Lord!
And listen, he listen. This just means that he's very focused. They set something up. somebody was wearing a Steph Curry jersey on Grand Theft Auto. He found him, shot him in the head off of the Los Santos Bridge, and then ran out with his boys. Like, yo, Anthony Davis is a different kind of focus now. So you know what? I might consider changing my pick before the game starts.
Because of a Grand Theft Auto moment.
It means you're taking out your enemies, Gerard. The laser focus. Yeah, getting a little focus. You know,
he might be focused, but last game against Denver, did I see him on the bench? His leg again? His calf again? I mean, wasn't he out for how many months was he out? Is that healthy? Come on, man.
Here's the thing.
So mad.
Anthony Davis might lead the NBA. It's him or Kristaps Porzingis. One of them leads the NBA in games that you just see them go to the locker room in during. Like, it's one of those two that lead the NBA in that.
I'm really upset that your faith in Anthony Davis, as Gerard brought up, is based on a GTA assassination. Like, this is what we're talking about. Really.
We gotta be on brand.
You gotta be on brand. You gotta be on brand. I will say this. This is the time, though, folks, because we know LeBron's not back till sometime next week. Yo, AD gotta step up to the plate and be like, I got this. I'm carrying us until Bron. Don't worry about this, Bron. You come back in the playoffs. You ready? I'm going to take control of this as someone who we said at the end of last playoffs. What were we saying? The mythical, the best player in the league might be Anthony Davis, right? Wasn't that the talk at the end of the postseason run?
And he was a trendy MVP pick before the season started.
Right. And we ain't seen none of that.
Because we haven't seen him.
Maybe he got that ring.
But even when we did, he wasn't. He clearly, like, he took a step back numerically, but you could also tell like he wasn't as great as he was towards the end of last year. I mean, look, maybe he's just tired, like a lot of the other dudes who played late into the season.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that, and we'll get to this at some point. Like Nikola Jokic, I'm watching him to see in the playoffs, is he going to be able to keep this up because he's played so much basketball since, and he's only missed like one game.
Well, if I'm Denver. Obviously, you're not in the play-in, so you get that week off. And hopefully our seeding is already locked in wherever we are. I'm taking off. I'm giving him the last couple of games of the regular season off, too. So we get that nice rest heading into the postseason.
That might be a smart move.
Denver losing to the Lakers. Denver losing to the Lakers in the other day. That, to me, you know, I was starting to think, they might have a chance, you know, without Jamal Murray. Maybe, you know, don't discount them completely. I'm discounting them completely after that loss, okay? And I know the Lakers are a bad matchup for Denver anyway, and a bad matchup for Jokic because they have all these bigs who can guard him a little bit, and AD can straight up guard him, period. Yeah. But you got to win that game, man. You know that's a game they had to win for the seedings. You're playing the Lakers without LeBron, and you can't get it done. It's a wrap.
Nah,
we ain't gonna do nothing, man.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that's fair, man. You sound like you don't believe in them, like the way I don't believe in the Clippers. Yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, absolutely fair. Look, I'm rolling, but damn, y'all gotta believe in somebody. Like somebody's gonna win this shit.
We ain't believing in nobody. We believe in.
But I feel you though, because I don't really believe in anybody yet either. Nobody right now.
Who will have 8 dudes that could stand upright come July? That's who I'm rolling with. Who's that team that got 8 guys?
The first ever NBA NFL champion. I'm telling you.
And the team that has dudes standing up that they need to be standing right now, the only one I could think of is Milwaukee. That's the only team
right now
that their guys are healthy.
Right now, they are.
That's a fair point. All right, let's move on to our next segment. Talk about these parlays. To parlay or not to parlay? Last week, there weren't good games and there were not good parlays. We got some decent ones this week. First, we're going to start off with Brian's favorite point guard, Kyrie Irving, over 6.5 assists. You can already see Brian's face on this.
Yes.
And Anthony Davis over 3.5 assists. This was a combined parlay on DraftKings plus 228. I'm going to start with you, Brian, since you love Kyrie Irving so much. Might as well start with you on this one. Would you put your money down on this? All Kyrie's got to do is get 7 assists or more. AD drop you 4 dimes or more, plus 228. Are you putting your money on this or staying away? Brian, we cannot hear you. I think you might have unplugged yourself. This is the one time you haven't heard Brian have anything to say, and it's probably because it wasn't about
It's been a minute. See, the thing with Kyrie Irving's assists is that they typically are all over the place. Like one game he'll have 8, one game he'll have 2, one game he'll have 5, one game he'll have 11, whatever. I mean, he rarely gets 11, but you know what I mean. Recently,
he had 12 3 nights ago.
Yeah, he had 12 and he had 11 before that, and he had a string of like good assist games, and then a few before that there was a big 0 there. So it's been all over the place this year. 5, 6, 3, 4, and 12. Those are the last 5 games. Before that, 11, 8, 8. So you had like a good stretch. It's tough, and I wish that the odds were a little bit better in your favor. Like 228 is not really that much, and I feel like the Anthony Davis 3.5 is not really a given either. Though I feel more confident about him getting to 4 than I do Kyrie Irving getting to 7. So this is probably a stay away from me because I just don't think the upside is that great in terms of like the potential payout, even if it does happen.
All right, Gerard, what about you? Any faith that both these guys can match these assist numbers?
I mean, both guys are capable of doing it. My issue with it is the odds aren't good enough to do it, right? It's not worth it at plus 228. It's just not enough for me. I mean, and, again, I mentioned the tired legs, right? Like Kyrie's averaging 6.3 assists per season, actually quietly having his best season as a pro this year statistically. I just, guys are missing shots. We're getting late in the season, and assists are a weird thing, as I always say. If I want to jump in on the assist parlay, you got to give me better than plus 228, and that's not good enough. So I'm out on that.
Out all the way out on that. What about you, Murph? Getting in on this action or not?
No, I'm passing on this. I don't have confidence in either one of these guys. Putting money on them. Actually, I'm gonna put money on Kyrie getting 7 assists, like passing the ball. And come on, I'm not doing that. He could do it, but I'm not putting money on that. And then AD, he could play 1 quarter and be headed to the locker room. We just talked. And even if he plays a whole game, who's he passing to? He's passing to KCP or something like that. Like, no, I'm not doing it. And like you guys said, the biggest thing is the odds. It's plus 228. That's not nearly enough to put some money on this.
Yeah, I'm with all of you on this. Out on this 228, not tantalizing enough. And like assists, Gerard, you're right about that. Assists are tricky this time of year. It's a lot about the ability of other guys to make shots in your team. It's funny. I'm with Brian and feeling more confident generally about AD than Kyrie, even though Kyrie has more guys around him that can make shots.
I'm pretty confident in Kyrie. It's just, it's a weird thing.
Yeah,
228, just 228. That's the problem.
Can't do it. I wanted better odds, but I said let's start off with something low. So we all say we all are going to pass on this assist parlay. We're all going to pass.
And what do I know? I'm just a pawn. You know what I'm saying?
Shouts to Murph for coming at Kyrie for missing media, which, by the way, he's been doing this all season. Like, yep. And Murph, we cover the team. It's like every 2 days or so is when he decides he's going to talk. Right? We'll have a practice day or have an off day. It's like, oh, no Kyrie today, and then it's like second day, and then But now it's like, all right, repeatedly doing this, we're going to come down on you, Kyrie. $35,000. All right, cool.
All right, cool. There's probably better odds you should put on Kyrie not talking to the media. There's probably better odds for that. Yeah. Somebody needs to find out. It's not going to be 228. I can tell you that. It's not going to be that. All right, guys. Next one. Nets, Hornets, and Wizards all to win. The Nets, as we know, will be taking on the Mavericks in Dallas. The Wizards we talked about, they will be in Tampa playing the Raptors. And the Hornets, they have a home matchup against the Chicago Bulls, who have been falling fast and well out of the play-in tournament and race and all of that. The odds on this are at plus 575, not 228, guys. This might be a little bit more tantalizing. Murph, are you in on this action?
Yeah, I love this one because, I think that these three teams are going to win. And I'm surprised 2 of these teams are underdogs, and I don't even understand why. I mean, Washington, we already talked about Washington, Toronto. I'm surprised they're underdogs. I guess they're away, maybe. What's the other one? I'm blanking.
Hornets and Bulls.
Yeah, Hornets and Bulls. Hornets are underdogs. Hornets are actually playing for something. The Bulls, I understand Levine and is back, and Vucevic is back, I think. So I get that the Bulls will be a little more formidable, but the Hornets have been the better team all year. They're at home and they're the underdog. I don't get that. So I love that the plus 500. I'm loving it. I'm going to run with this one. I think this is one of the better bets I've seen.
Yeah, it was. I felt like it was one of the better parlays that I saw, and for those reasons, I thought a lot of these teams that were underdogs that maybe shouldn't even be underdogs. So interesting. Brian, I'll go to you. Are you in on this or no?
Yeah, because even though I'm kind of leaning Mavs, I'm not like confident in that, and I'm kind of leaning, not Wizards, Raptors, but I'm confident. I'm not confident in that either. And then you have the Hornets beating the Bulls. I feel like that's the most obvious one out of all of them. So yeah, I would take this because also the odds are great. The upside is much better than what we just discussed. And yeah, I think, man, the Bulls, that's very unfortunate that they've fallen how they did even after that trade. But, shit happens, especially this season, and next season it might be even worse. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm rolling with this one. I like the odds, even though I'm not fully confident in all the teams, but I could definitely see this playing out in a way that's very favorable.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that as well, too. What about you, Gerard? Better odds on this one. Are you in on this?
Yeah, plus 575 is great. So I'm on it just because the math makes sense, right? You're always trepidatious when you got three teams you're banking on, right? Because wild shit happens in this league. The Chicago Bulls are not good, and the Hornets have something to play for, right? They're trying to make sure they solidify their position. We already talked about the Nets and how they want to right their ship and get a win tonight. It's important for them. And, the only one that gives me a little pause, again, is because the second night of a back-to-back for Washington. But they, too, have to lock themselves into where they are, right? They want to play in that play-in so they can get potentially get that 8 seed. So I like this 575, great odds. Let's roll with it.
Like you guys said, I think this is great when you have all these teams with this much motivation to win, could easily win these games. I like all these teams to win anyway. Definitely got to take it plus 575. Omar, shout out to you again, giving some love to Murph for the 1619 shirt. If you don't know what 1619 is, please do not come in the comments and ask us. We will not explain that to you here. Do some research. Yes,
seriously,
at all costs. Do research on that. All right, next game, guys. Not a game. Excuse me. It's next parlay here, but Luka Doncic to record a triple double. Something that happens, pretty often, every now and then. Plus 400 for this. Saw this parlay on DraftKings. Do you like this player prop for Luka Doncic to record a triple double? What do you say? What do you say, Gerard?
I mean, with Luka, it's always a possibility, right? He's going to have the ball in his hands the entire game. It's always a possibility. I wish it was a little bit better than plus 400, but still 4-1 is pretty solid. So, $25, why not? Throw it on Luka.
Why not? Why not? The odds is pretty good. It's not 228, which we all hated. Murph, what about you on this, especially going against the Nets? Will it be asking Luka to do too much to get all that done tonight, or do you see him getting his triple-double?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this one alone. Of course, he's capable of getting a triple double, but I'm not gonna put any money on it. I can see him putting up high point totals, probably high rebound totals. No Porzingis tonight, again. So there's less. That's another person less he has to pass to. It's just not. The odds are just not good enough for me to take that.
10 triple doubles on the season for Luka Doncic. Brian, are you in or out on Luka getting a triple double against the Nets tonight?
They're playing the Nets. Porzingis out, and Luka's gonna have the ball the entire game. He's probably gonna even have the ball when the Nets have the ball because he just always has the fucking ball in these games. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Luka plus 400. I think it should be better odds than that, but I mean, how do you not at least take a shot at this? Because this is especially the kind of game where he'll probably wind up with 39, 17, and 12 or some shit. And then we look up and, the Mavs actually lost by 5. But yeah, I'll take it.
No, I can see that. Sounds about right. Yeah, I think the odds are just decent enough that you got to throw a couple dollars on it. I wouldn't be super, super confident in it. It's not like this is Russell Westbrook with the way he's playing right now. The odds would be much lower on that because of how he's playing right now. But I think at plus 400 because of the player and with KP out, I think you got to take a shot on it. Why not? Can't hurt too much. Plus 400 isn't too bad. All right, the last parlay, guys. Lakers and Warriors both to win. The Warriors, as we know, they also are very active in terms of staying into that play-in race. They're currently 9th right now. They're trying to see if they can get up to 8th to pass Memphis. At this point, they're 33-33 on the season. Their game tonight, I was forgetting who the Warriors play tonight. The Warriors are actually playing. They're playing OKC. They're hosting OKC. OKC, as we talked about, they are resting everybody. They are all in on the tank. All
Tank
in
for
on
Cunningham, baby.
Tank for Cunningham. Murph, with that being said, and also we talked about the Lakers-Clippers matchup earlier. We talked about how we both kind of like the Lakers against that spread of -8 favoring the Clippers. Do you like, and going on this, let's say you like the Lakers to win. I think we're pretty confident in the Warriors beating OKC, but would you touch this parlay at +300?
Yeah, I think I might, because, like I said, I think the Clippers will win, but I give the Lakers a chance to keep it close at +300. The other game, Golden State, almost a lock. As locks go, they're 14.5 point favorites against OKC. So you're just telling me that they need to win that game, and then I need the Lakers to I need the Clippers to choke. That's possible. That's very possible. So +300, I'm going to put some money on that.
Yeah, I like how you look. I like how you looked at it in terms of that, right? Like it's like I'm confident in the Warriors winning, but I'm also kind of betting on the Clippers choking, which for some people like me would agree, that's generally not a bad bet. It's generally not a bad bet.
Think about the Clippers choke. That could happen.
Very well could happen. Brian, how about you on this? Only +300 here. Are you also betting on the Clippers choking too? Because that's what this comes down to.
I wasn't too sure, but I think Murph's kind of convinced me. Like, I'm gonna roll with this one. It's because it is. That's kind of what it is. Like, you're also betting on Anthony Davis potentially having a big game. Andre Drummond, who hasn't been as good as even I thought he was gonna be, could potentially have a big game tonight, because this is not a bad matchup for him to have one of those big rebound games. And on top of that, I mean, OKC doesn't have. I mean, it's going to be Poku versus Steph Curry, and I'm going to take my chances with Steph Curry on that one.
Yeah,
exactly. Poku, exactly.
Oh God.
Honestly, I don't even know like his full name. I just
Poku.
know that all the white media NBA guys just love him and call him Poku and think he's going to be a fucking star. So.
Really? I wonder why they like him.
No idea who that is. I gotta watch this.
Yeah, they're looking.
We get a few of these every year, guys, as you all know.
As we know, we're looking at him the same way they're looking at Murph's 1619 shirt, not knowing what that is either. Like, what is that? Our producer, Pokashefty.
Whatever.
I'm going to mess up the first name. Sorry, Pokashefty, we're not trying to mess up your name. I'm not going to disrespect you the way Murph disrespects Jakob. We're not going to do that, but we got it. We got it. Gerard at +300. Is this enough for you to get in? Again, like I said, I'm going to bring it. It comes down to how you feel about the Clips, man.
So
about the Clips?
You're all on the Clippers choking, huh? That's where everybody's at. You're all on the Clippers choking. Nah. If the odds aren't good enough for me at +3, so I'm gonna just stay away. If it was a little bit better, I'd be like, Clips choking, why not? But +300, not enough for me. So I'm good. I'm passing on this one. But I like your positions though. Clippers to choke, always a safe bet to me.
+300.
Plus, yeah, for me, I would throw a couple dollars here. Why not? Because the mantra, Clips going Clips, man. Clips going Clips.
That's how they do.
That's how they do. So yeah, whatever. Why not? Why can I see this happening? I mean, if we're wrong, it's still the Clippers.
Whatever, right?
They gonna clip and choke at some point. So it is what it is.
You missed it by a game. Okay, fine.
or in the case of the Clippers, might be a couple of weeks by the time they get to the playoffs.
Damn,
we'll
postseason.
We'll
shoot off the side of the backboard.
There we go. That's all that matters. We don't shoot off the side of the backboard on this show. And if you enjoy this show, please continue to support us. You can support us by subscribing to the Props Network YouTube channel, the best place to see the great content that the Props Network has. And this show every Thursday night at 6 p.m. We'll have more announcements about what we'll be doing throughout the playoffs with the show. More of that will be coming soon, but stay tuned to the Props Network for that. And also want to remind everybody, when you're comparing all your different odds and looking at the different betting lines and all the different odds you can see across the different betting houses, you want to use the propsnetwork.com live odds comparison tool. All you got to do is go to propsnetwork.com/NBA. You can see all the different spreads and payouts from all the best legal sports books all in one place. Really easy to use. All right, guys. Also wanted to talk for our third segment about the Phoenix Suns. Now, last week we talked about CP3 for MVP, and Murph and others pretty shot that down pretty quick. Like, what are you talking about? And rightfully so. It was a good discussion, but I think we have all seen who's been the MVP and MVP front runner so far this year. But talking about the Suns, right? And Gerard, particularly you, I want to kick it off with you on this first. You had a little video piece that you did on True Hoop earlier this week where you talked about the Suns and the rise of the Suns. They came out in the top spot in the West, playing good basketball. And odds for them, a couple of days ago when Gerard did that video, he was talking about the odds were high as plus 800 that you get on the Suns to win the Western Conference. Now, they're anywhere from plus 600 to plus 700. So, guys, I want to ask you, is now a good time, if you're looking for a late season pick, to throw some money on a bet, to put some money on the Suns to win the Western Conference? Can they actually do it? We've talked about the injuries and everything that's been going on in the league. Gerard, since you did the True Hoop video and you spoke a lot about this, it was part of the inspiration, I think, for this segment. I want to ask you, you talked about the value around them and how they're being looked at and how they're playing. Do you think it's good value to throw some money down on the Phoenix Suns right now?
Yeah, no doubt. And if you remember last week in my Keep It 100, I took 25 on the Suns last week at plus 800 to win the West, right? So at 8-1, the value is there, particularly in this year where, yes, if everybody's healthy, you like the Lakers clip, but guess what? Ain't nobody healthy. So we have zero idea who's going to be what. And if we're talking about just strictly, can I win money, right? Because that's what this is about. At plus 800, hell yeah, you throw some money down. The Suns are a team that fit the statistical profile that can go and advance deep into the playoffs, right? 2 elite shot creators and shot makers in Chris Paul and Devin Booker, shooting and defense on the wing, a rim-running, young, defensive-minded big man. Like, those things suggest you can make a deep playoff run. Like, if you look at teams that make deep playoff runs, that's what they have, and the Suns have it, right? And I think also if you look at how the seedings work out, they may not have to, if they can grab the one, they won't have to play the Lakers or Clippers till the conference finals. Well, if I can beat the Blazers in round one and whoever the hell in the middle round, the Nuggets may be, hey, guess what? Once I'm in the Western Conference Finals, I got a 50-50 shot, right? I'm ready to roll. So I love it at plus. Even I took it last week at plus 800. At plus 7, if you can find it, still pretty good odds.
Pretty good odds there. Brian, I'm going to kick it with you next on this because I don't think you have necessarily loved, we know the team who's in the number one spot. You're not Team Utah. Everyone knows that. You're not Team Utah on this. But would you be a little bit more inclined to throw some dollars on the Suns? I'm assuming, kind of putting words in your mouth here, I'm assuming you believe in the Suns more than the Jazz. I mean, we know you don't believe in nobody more than the Heat. The Heat, you believe in the Heat more than anybody else. But
that would be false this season. But all right.
Yeah. Does anybody else here believe that? I don't.
Yeah, he picking the Heat to upset whoever in the first round.
Look, I think there's a world where they can potentially lose to the Knicks in the first round, but we could discuss that another day. Yeah, I believe in the Suns more than I typically do a team that doesn't have the playoff experience that most of their guys do, because they are good late in games and can create shots late in games with multiple guys, which will help in the playoffs because Chris Paul and Devin Booker could do it in the mid-range area. And obviously Devin Booker having Chris Paul next to him, I think, is a big factor. Mikal Bridges is somebody who I look at. He's going to play in the playoffs for the first time, but you could tell he's not really scared. He's a guy that will probably come in and make some big plays. I don't know if he's going to be all that efficient, but in the playoffs, you can kind of throw that out the window to some degree when you're in your first year and you're a role player. It's different when you're a star player and you have to be efficient for your team to win. I like the Suns' odds, and I feel good about them because I just don't feel great about a whole bunch of teams right now. And with Chris Paul, it's like that would be the one team that I probably would want to see win the most because it would be great for him to get that sort of championship because, as we talked about in our group text throughout the week this week, a lot of people are going to look at Chris Paul sideways if he doesn't have one of those rings, as Gerard says, right? So, and it's like it would be cool for him to finally get one on a team that he helped change, but also he's helping develop Devin Booker in a way that I think will be beneficial for him throughout the course of his career. Whereas Devin Booker, would have had a different sort of trajectory for better or for worse if Chris Paul had never gotten there. I think the same with DeAndre Ayton, though he's not putting up the gaudy numbers. I think, having a real point guard there at that level has just helped them. And you see it like in the game that they played against Utah, like he wasn't awesome statistically in some ways, but he was going at Rudy Gobert all the time. He was putting in a strong effort defensively, and that's what you want to see for your number one pick, who is probably going to be getting a big extension in a few months from now. You know what I mean? Probably not a max necessarily, but he's going to get a big deal. And yeah, I think I really like their odds. And in terms of everybody else in the Western Conference, it's like they might be the team that I'm leaning towards because of all the injuries and uncertainties and things of that nature. And Murph pointed out, the Nuggets' disappointing loss to the Lakers. I don't make too much of regular season losses. We're late in the year now, though, and that was not a great sign. And obviously, you expect, even though LeBron claims he's never going to be 100% again,
propaganda season,
right? You expect him to be LeBron James when it's time to be LeBron James. So, comparatively to the rest of the Western Conference, why would you not take a chance on the Suns this year?
Why not take a chance on the Suns? All right, Murph. We know of your love for Chris Paul for MVP. We know you are campaigning absolutely hard. Do you believe a CP3 could lead the Suns to the NBA Finals? And would you throw some dollars on them?
I don't really believe it, but the odds are the best for the Suns. I agree with Gerard. I agree with Brian. They're at plus 600, plus 650. Those are the just betting wise. I think that's the team you go with, especially in this atmosphere where, like you guys said before, everybody's injured. It's kind of, we're in flux. We don't know what's going to really happen. That's a good bet. I don't think it'll happen, but plus 600, plus 650. You can get a nice little return on that. In real life, I don't think it's going to happen. I actually have them fourth, and I believe right along with what the odds say. I think the Lakers are my first choice. Then I'd go Clippers. Believe it or not, I should have whispered that. But then from Utah, I think I actually like Utah a little better than the Suns. But they all have, Utah's like plus 300, plus 250, something like that. I wouldn't put money on that. Those odds aren't good enough. So I think the Suns' odds are great. So they're just a perfect fit betting wise.
Yeah, there you go. Brian, do you believe in the Suns more than Utah? Did you? Because I know we got Murph. Murph believes in Utah more than the Suns. How do you feel about that, Brian?
Believe in the Suns more than Utah, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets. That's probably it. That's probably where
Brian,
the Western Conference goes.
Brian, you probably believe in that clown that's fighting Mayweather more than you believe in the Jazz, don't you?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say,
the Jazz are a good basketball. They're a very good basketball team. I'm just saying they fit the profile of the regular season darling who loses in the second round. Just do.
Why is that not the case for the Clippers?
Because the Clippers actually have Kawhi Leonard, and that leaves me with a little bit of confidence, a little bit more confidence.
And what happened last year?
That was Paul George.
I just want to be clear about where you're directing the blame.
I do think there's a small Ty Lue factor that could be beneficial to them, and they got Rondo, which will help them or whatever. But now, here's the thing: if the Jazz beat the Clippers in a series, that wouldn't shock me necessarily. If they beat the Lakers in a series, that would probably shock me. A healthy Lakers team, if Utah beat them, yeah, that would shock me.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Next week's True Hoop TV video going to be about the Utah Jazz.
Here we go, and it's going to be all about Gerard talking about why Rudy Gobert, French Tyson Chandler, as Brian calls him, is going to win MVP. That's
no. Stop it. Ain't nobody saying Rudy's the MVP. Stop wilding.
Gerard, is he on your ballot? Is he in your top 5?
No. Look, Rudy. Come on, man. Y'all stop wilding out, man.
You put a whole case in the chat. Is that your ballot?
All I said was Rudy is the most important player on the Utah Jazz. That's what I said.
I happen to agree with Gerard on.
Right?
I just felt that Gerard
8 shots a game.
Murph, offense is only half the game, bro.
Right. It's a half.
Right.
Do both.
But your offense is also based on what Rudy does. That's why all those dudes get wide open threes.
So I thought
get wide open threes now.
So I think the evidence
you've seen Utah, they shoot a ton of wide open threes. A ton. Rudy's a huge reason why they shoot wide open.
Are they doubling Rudy?
What they're doing is they're sagging back because they don't want the lobs, right?
You know what's happening? You know what's happening is Dorian Finney-Smith is like, I got Rudy Gobert on me. I'm gonna have a big night. That's what's happening. What's it called?
Here's the other thing too, Brian.
What?
And I'm gonna say, but that's also a misnomer that Rudy gets played off the floor in the playoffs. That's not actually true. when you actually watch it. But
No.
I'll say that for next week.
I know that that's not true, but other perimeter players and apparently role players in the NBA are kind of like, hey, they're salivating at going at Rudy.
And you know what? You know why they do that? Because he cries because he don't make All-Star. That's why. That's why they do it. That's why they do it.
He's French Paul George.
and he was but the last pick of the All-Star game. I know
And
it doesn't mean anything, but it means something.
Well, of course it means something because NBA players are also terrible judges of talent. You know that.
What?
Come on, you know that.
Wait.
NBA guys.
Some of them
My problem with the article is that it used it was like completely analytics that was driving the whole
right, and that's
because he looks so good analytically, he deserves to be, so don't believe our lying eyes.
Which, by the way, and I'm not agreeing with that. He should be on the top 5 MVP ballot. I'm not saying that.
And just
I ain't saying
but that is a common take that's out there.
No. But just I don't know. I'm not sure how common that is. But just to be clear, I was joking on Gerard's take on that. I was saying that Gerard was going to use that to set up his upcoming video and play that, but that Rudy Gobert will be MVP. I know that
Gerard has been hinting at this all season. Let's not play it off like this is coming out of nowhere. He's been bringing up Gobert all season. He's been taking little shots at Donovan. Let's be clear about this right now.
Well, here's the thing. In the chat, Murph brought up a great point because the whole thing was about like, is Rudy Gobert the most important player on the Jazz? And Gerard said, where would they be without Rudy? And then Murph said, where would they be without Donovan? Which I think is an interesting debate. And I can't say that I lean strongly one way or the other, personally.
That's fair. That's fair.
Here's the reality, though, how I look at it, right? Like, it's all jokes aside, and like, Murph, that was good. You've been teasing this up all year.
I mean, kind of though.
I kind of have. I just think we're so bad at really identifying who doesn't do the thing that matters, like to our eyes, the most in the playoffs, which is we always talk about who can create their own shot when it matters. Rudy cannot do that. Donovan clearly, they're not even in the same galaxy as far as doing that. One can do it well, the other one can't do it at all. So that's not even we ain't even talking about that.
My thing is you're penalized, not you, but the analytics wise, you penalize Donovan because he can do that. So the coach asked him to do that.
Right.
Whereas Gobert comes out looking better statistically because he doesn't try shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he's only taking 8 shots. He hits 5 shots out of 8. So that looks really
6 out of 8, whatever. Yep,
you don't have to try to do something outside of your capabilities. So
correct,
you're going to be more efficient.
And that's a valid point. And so what I'll be looking at is when you're looking at the last 5 possessions, right, of a game, it's like, okay, how do I look at how Donovan and how Rudy impact those 5 possessions? Both ways, right? Does Rudy prevent you from getting what you want? And does Donovan get you a bucket? At the end, that counts the same, right? We score, they can't. It works the same. So anyway, we'll save it for next time.
Yeah, we'll save it. I think it's a good discussion to have, and there's a lot of nuance around it that we could talk about. Is good, but I was just waiting for somebody to say "F Rudy Gobert." That didn't happen. I'm a little.
I mean, look.
I won't be that person. You gonna be that person?
Here comes Brian. Here we go.
Hold on. I won't say that.
I
I won't say that. But I'm like, look. I know people are trying to give him another Defensive Player of the Year award, and I ain't doing that.
He's gonna win it.
I ain't doing that, and he probably is. He probably is because he has the reputation for being the best defender on one of the better defensive teams, who is very high in the standings. But no,
for a while I was going Simmons, but bro,
I'm with Simmons.
I'm like, damn, bro, but they haven't dropped off defensively. Like they're.
Just say it, Gerard. Just say it. Just say it. You love Rudy Gobert.
I don't want to give it, but I'm like, damn, bro. Like your defensive numbers are retarded. Like,
if Dorian Finney-Smith calls you out, you ain't the Defensive Player of the Year to me. Dog.
I mean, I get it. I get it. He cries because you don't make All-Star. Dorian Finney-Smith goes at you. People try to punk you. You got picked last. I get it. Like Rudy doesn't.
I'm over these fucking centers all getting the award every year.
I'm kind of with that.
All right,
I hear you.
At least there are other players who are legitimately guarding a lot of multiple positions and things.
Let's also be clear about something. If Rudy was the same age as us and we were in high school with him, we would clown that dude at the lunch table 24/7, right? Like that's also part of it. We would clown him mercilessly and not stop.
Well, we
Like
would also we would also be his teammates. We would be the starting five. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we'd be like, Rudy, clean that up, get that block.
that would be an interesting team. We have to like talk about how that would work one day.
I don't know. That would work very interesting. All right, guys, let's get to the last segment so we can wrap. That was
I'm a pass first point guard, so y'all don't got to worry about me.
No, you're a fight person. That's what you are. All right, let's do keep it 100. You know how this goes. You got $100 to bet on anything that you want to. So how would you spend it? We know Brian is always inclined to spend it on some kind of violence, and probably will bet on Jake Paul or whatever Logan Paul it is versus Mayweather. You know he's going to bet on that. But we're not here to talk about that tonight. Murph, I'll start with you first. How are you spending your $100 for tonight's Keep It 100?
All right, let's see. I'm gonna put 50 on the Nets, Hornets, Wizards to win, and then I'm gonna put another 50 on a separate parlay. I'm gonna go Charlotte plus 4.5. I'm going to go Atlanta -6. The payback for McMillan. How about that?
Hey.
They're at Indiana. Indiana's reeling. You know, they're looking stupid for firing Nate McMillan, and now they got chaos throughout. If it were over 10, I'd still go Atlanta here. So I'm really confident in the -6.5. And then I'm going to go, and I'll put in that parlay, I'm going to put the Nets. I think they bounce back from that 3-game losing streak.
All right, not bad there. I also recently saw a line change with the Wizards Raptors. That is now at the Wizards are favored 1.5 points.
Wow.
Set it at 3, so that's changed. I don't know why, but just noticed that. So I wanted to bring a note of that to the viewers. Also, Nets and Mavericks is now down from 3 to -2.5. Nets favored in that game. So some lines moving here. I'm just looking at some other stuff, guys, in case you see that. If you were trying to bet on the Warriors Thunder, Warriors are now favored -14.5 in that contest, and they should probably blow them out. Brian, how are you spending your $100 tonight?
Lot of violence tonight.
Oh my God! A lot of violence.
Is this going to be the Rangers?
That was awesome. By the way, I was listening to somebody earlier. They were saying like, look, this is regulation in hockey. Like this is what you're supposed to do to keep people in check. And I'm like, oh, so that's how that works over there. All right, cool, got it.
We know why.
I wonder why,
Greg.
Yeah, I mean, we know. But
why.
Look, I mean, they wouldn't do that in the NBA, even though I feel like they should sometimes. But anyway,
what is the right reason? I mean, right reason.
So the first $50 are going to go to some of the parlays we talked about. 20 on Nets, Hornets, Wizards to win. 20 on the Luka triple-double. 10 on the Warriors and Lakers to win. Although that's a big spread for the Warriors to cover, and I mean, we've seen the Warriors disappoint sort of time and again, so I'm not feeling great about that spread. So we'll only go $10 there. We're gonna go to UFC Fight Night Las Vegas. We have an event this weekend. I got $5 on Michelle Waterson beating Marina Rodriguez plus 175. Angela Hill over Amanda Ribas 145. And Neil Magny $10 over Jeff Neal 165. That leaves me with an additional $30. We're gonna have 24 on Nate, whatever the fuck his name is, to get fired from the Indiana Pacers as their head coach. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and it's not gonna matter because I won't need to in a couple months. It ain't Nate McMillan, and that's the problem.
Bjorkgren.
Right? So yeah, cool. $5 on Becky Hammon to be the Pacers head coach, the next head coach. If you remember, last year there were actually odds plus 750 for Becky Hammon to replace then Nate McMillan. Now it will be Nate Bjorken or whatever. So we're gonna go Becky Hammon there, and then $1 on Michael Porter Jr. to dunk on Rudy Gobert tomorrow night versus Jazz.
I mean, you know I love MPJ, so I mean, I ain't gonna be no problems with that.
And it's not even a diss, like, you know, I look, MPJ's been really good lately. He's blown me away a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So,
unfortunately,
is MPJ the second best player on the Denver Nuggets?
Now, yeah.
Now he is. Will he
was he even before when Jamal Murray was there?
Here we go.
He potentially, but he
He has second highest.
Stay tuned, by the way.
My concern with MPJ has always been the back, because having a back issue when you're that young and tall is pretty damn serious. So I was like, I don't blame. Like, I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, the Knicks should have taken a chance on him, because you don't freaking know. Like, when it comes to that, but. Look, he's been really good. He's been their second best player as of late. And if he can carry them in some playoff games, then they can get really far. So, them offensively.
Stay tuned.
Here we
Let's
go.
revisit that. The whole Knicks thing at the time. I'm like, at the time, I understood why the Knicks didn't go that route.
Yeah, of course.
But I wanted them to go that route.
Yeah.
They just kind of played like most of these guys are going to be busts anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like at that. From that, what was he 12th or 9th from
14th?
9th?
Yeah.
Those aren't guarantees anyway. Why not take a chance on the most talented kid, even if he's hurt?
You have to have confidence in your infrastructure that you can develop and do whatever. And at that point, the Knicks were not confident. Come on,
it also doesn't look great that. Never mind MPJ. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was there, and you took Kevin Knox, who had one great summer league, and then
Kevin Knox might be out of the league real soon.
Right, let's go. Gerard, how are you spending your $100? I would have to assume it might not involve that much violence, unless I'm sure the violence you like to see is MPJ dunking on your boy Gobert. I feel like if that happens, you're going to be so conflicted in that moment. Part of you is like, yo, you want Rudy to get a block, but then you're so happy that MPJ dunked on him. Like, what do you do? I don't know what you do.
And Gobert go head to head. I might be like, damn, I want MPJ to be the man, but Jokic, you're fucking up my defensive. Yeah, it's problematic. I got a lot of problematic matchups in the league.
You just want Gobert to have a great offensive game that night.
Yeah, I'm like, just get some more points that night.
Which for Murphy needs to shoot more than 8 times. That's what he means. Yeah.
Well, my quick nod to violence. Shout to Rose Namajunas for regaining her championship belt. Thug Rose, shouts to her.
She's so good.
I know she's
so good.
She's crazy. She is really good. All right, who am I spending my money?
Yes.
$25 on the Nets, Hornets, Wizards all to win at plus 575.
Mm-hmm.
$25 on Jonas Valanciunas to score the first bucket and for the Grizzlies to win plus 800. And I'm gonna go 25 on the Wizards money line and get ready for this one, y'all. Hold on to your seats.
Hold it on.
Futures bet Clippers plus 550 to win it all.
Wow.
550. Wow. Damn, that's actually like, I thought it would be like in almost 1,000. Only 550?
I was like, ooh, 5-1. I was like, I might have to.
They got you.
Because of the numbers.
They got you.
Just because of the numbers.
The numbers are so tantalizing. They made
still good payout if you win, if you're putting in 25.
The numbers are so tantalizing. It made Gerard do something that he knows damn well he should not do. He knows damn well he shouldn't touch the Clippers. You know that. Come on.
But at those numbers, I was like,
look, that's betting though, right? That's the beauty of all this. All right.
Is Ibaka coming back?
Say that again, Murph.
Is Ibaka coming back?
We hope so. Not tonight. We hope.
Yeah, maybe it'll take as long as not Murph's boy, but Gerard's boy, Triple J, to come back. How do we know? We have
Triple J back, by the way. Memphis Grizzlies, baby. Playoffs, baby.
Here we go. All right.
Morant 37-10 last night.
Yeah, played really good.
Who's gonna be better, Morant or Edwards?
Oh,
Morant.
Okay.
Morant got to get better shooting threes. He is atrocious at that.
Yeah.
And defensively, he still looks pretty lost.
And he doesn't have the profile that, look, the best he could hope to be is just like, not be a turnstile, because he just doesn't, the profile isn't there, right? Like he just.
Mm-hmm.
I've always called him a smoother Russell Westbrook. So, we'll see what that entails.
But Russ got the profile to be an excellent defender. He just ain't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's just not. Russ can be.
Right. All right, guys. I'm gonna go with Nets, Hornets, and Wizards all to win. $25 on that. Also figured, why not throw $25 on Luka Doncic to record a triple double? Why not as well there? Now that line is even down with the Raptors, Wizards, I'm gonna still just take the Raptors with the money line. I think they'll figure out a way to get this game and win there. So another $25 in there. And I was trying to think of something violent to do, some violence to bet on, but I couldn't really come up with it. I'm going to also throw $25 on this Detroit-Memphis game.
Whoa.
Why?
Yeah. Now here's the thing.
Yo, don't be coming at my Grizzly Cubs. Don't do it.
I'm coming at Jeremy
Hey,
Grant and the Pistons.
Don't come at my Grizzly Cubs.
Hold on,
Isaiah Stewart, baby.
Hold on. Beef stew.
I do like Isaiah Stewart. They got Hamidou Diallo dropping 37 points.
Man, F that dude. Don't be coming at my Grizzly Cubs.
Here's the thing. I am going to come at your Grizzly Cubs a little bit here. Okay. Line in this game is -9 for the Grizzlies. But the Pistons, they've been hanging tough. And the Grizzlies haven't really been putting teams away when they need to. I could see this game being a little closer than 9 points. I think the Grizzlies will win, but give me the Pistons +9 for my last $25. Sometimes I always like taking a little flyer on some of these bad teams. And the game, I think they can hang tight. I see the Pistons hanging tight in this one.
Remember the last time you bet on the bad team, the Houston Rockets? What happened?
Yo, man, why we gotta talk about old stuff? Hey, don't talk about the last time you bet on a bad team. You just bet on the Clippers who were going to clip.
It's a futures bet. How to do it? Yo, real quick, I just want to shout someone out. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim are releasing Albert Pujols, and I just want to say, from 2001 to 2010. That run that Pujols put up in St. Louis might have been the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life in baseball. Like the 5 best baseball players I've seen live in my life were Bonds, Griffey, A-Rod, Pujols. Like those dudes are just like ridiculous. And that run from 01 to 2010, I mean, he had an OPS of like over 1,000 every single season. It was ridiculous. Shouts to Albert Pujols, first ballot Cooperstown Hall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely shout out to him. One of the most
underrated. He's gonna have one of the more underrated careers when we look back on it, because a lot of people are gonna look at the Angels run, which is less than spectacular. And look, I mean, you paid a 32-year-old. Some people would say he's older, but that's another story for another day. Paid a 32-year-old, 10-year deal. That's taking a gamble, but I'm surprised he actually got released because, I mean, he's got 5 home runs this year. All anybody fucking cares about are home runs and strikeouts and shit anymore. So who cares? Like, whatever.
I mean, his St. Louis numbers alone were Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, after that by itself was enough.
No, he's one of the best players. Like, because I remember like him being a rookie and him coming into the league and being awesome, because it was also the same year as Ichiro. And like, you want to talk about 2 fucking transcendent talents that came into the league at that time. Albert Pujols was one of the best of his era.
No doubt about that. Good shout out to him. All right, we're gonna wrap things up here. Another good show. Good stuff to talk about. Look, we talked about the basketball fatigue at the top. We are getting close to the home stretch of things. So we're gonna have a lot of good stuff to talk about. Hopefully we don't have too much crazy stuff to talk about, like, is Rudy Gobert actually good? Will he take more than 8 shots a game? All these stuff that we got to talk about. We thank everybody for rocking with us. Our man Omar, we see you in the chats. Giving love on the 16-19 shirt and everything else. Yeah, Pujols was definitely a beast. There's going to be a lot of good stuff, I think, interesting stuff to talk about. And what's interesting, guys, is there's so much, like you guys have talked about, we don't know a lot of these matchups.
Yeah,
we don't know a lot of how this is going to talk about. So the conversation around betting. And one thing I will say, whether you like the play-in or you don't like the play-in, I think one of the things you have to like is, look, there's a lot of competitive games. And because we don't know the seedings of stuff, this is going to be really interesting for gambling and the conversation around basketball, going forward. So, it's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to talk about as we go on. So for Gerard Hector, please check out his work, his video on True Hoop that he had about the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, he's going to have some more propaganda coming out about the Utah Jazz. See, I got to use that. I got to use that against you, bro. I got to use that against you. Also, check out the work of Murph that I have coming up, hopefully in an undefeated, and that nobody will bite his work this time. Y'all know who we're talking about in terms of that. No biting, man. No biting. And definitely check out Brian. Brian had some good stuff on recently with Fortuna Media. He's been writing some good stuff on there as well, too. So please check out his work there, as well as Deadspin, which he actually wrote today about violence in a video game, which I knew had to bring him so much joy. He got to write about violence in a video game and tie it to sports. Man, Brian was in heaven. Look at his face. He's just smiling.
And shouts to you, Dex, on a new show you have coming out, Basketball Exchange. So, check that out, and all your work with Backpack Broadcasting.
Thank you. That'll be starting next week. All my friends here, Murph, Brian, and Gerard, will be a part of the show in some way as guests on the show. You know how we keep it. You know, we got to keep it representing for us and representing for the backpack family. I said black pack. See what I did there?
Freudian slip.
Family, Freudian slip right there.
Yo, why didn't you name it that in 2010?
No, you know what? I did not think about that, but it's just kind of a dope.
That's an idea.
Right,
holy
That's
shit!
an
We gotta
idea.
talk about that. We gotta talk about that shit. Oh my god!
Don't need to get ready if you stay ready.
I see that. So everybody doing good work. Please support that. Continue to support us on here. Also want to give a shout out to my dad. It's his birthday today. Fellow Taurus, like myself and Murph. Happy birthday to him. Next week, 6 p.m. Thursdays, we'll be here. Also, big shout out to our producer, Gregory Alcala, always doing his thing. Thank you. We'll be back next week at 6 o'clock to talk more basketball and betting. You know how we do. Until next time, y'all.